Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Real reason Julie Chrisley did not want to appear for resentencing. A federal judge recently ruled that Julie Chrisley would have to appear in person for her resentencing hearing next month. The Chrisley Knows Best star wanted to appear remotely for the resentencing, but her request was denied. Here are the reasons Julie didn't want to have to appear in court. Julie Chrisley's request to appear remotely denied by judge. Julie Chrisley's lawyer suggested that appearing in person for the upcoming resentencing would cause her undue physical harm. She will have to travel a long way and be shackled for hours to get to court. Currently, Julie is being held at FMC Lexington in Kentucky. She will have to travel to Atlanta for the court hearing. The star's lawyer said that officials likely would transfer Julie via the transfer facility in Oklahoma City or place her in a van for a lengthy, multiple-hour trip while shackled to facilitate her appearance in court. On top of that, her lawyer said, either option would remove Ms. Chrisley from FMC Lexington for an unnecessarily extended period of time and impose undue physical hardship on her. Prosecutors did not oppose Julie's request. However, the Chrisley Knows Best star's request to appear via video conference was denied by the judge. Judge Eleanor L. Ross ordered law enforcement to bring Julie Chrisley to court. You are hereby commanded to have the body of Julie Chrisley by you restrained of her liberty, as it is said, by whatsoever names detained before the Honorable Eleanor L. Ross, United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia, the order read. It continued, stating that Julie would need to be present in the courtroom in the city of Atlanta at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 25. She will have to attend court each day until the resentencing is complete. Thence to be returned to the custody from which she came, and have you this writ, the order concluded. Savannah Chrisley holding out hope Julie will be home for holidays. Todd and Julie Chrisley were found guilty of tax evasion and bank fraud in 2022. Julie was sentenced to 7 years initially, and Todd was sentenced to 12. Last September, their sentences were reduced to 6 and 10 years. The couple immediately started the appeals process following their guilty verdicts. Ultimately, the United States Court of Appeals upheld their convictions, but it was ruled that there wasn't enough evidence to hold Julie Chrisley responsible for the crimes that occurred before 2007. This led to the court ordering Julie to be resentenced. Fans have weighed in on what a resentencing might look like for Julie. Her daughter, Savannah Chrisley, is hopeful that her mom will be home in time for the holidays. Many fans think she is being delusional, but it isn't outside of the realm of possibilities. Julie Chrisley has always been known for her grace under pressure, a stoic presence amid chaos, especially when the cameras were rolling on Chrisley Knows Best. But behind the polished Southern charm and prime exterior lies a woman deeply torn between loyalty, fear, and a profound emotional reckoning. When the news broke that Julie had declined to appear in person for her resentencing hearing, many assumed it was due to shame or legal strategy. But the real reason was far more personal and devastating. A woman changed by prison walls. Julie, once the doting matriarch who held her family together with quiet strength, has been forever changed by her time behind bars. Prison life stripped her of her routines, her privileges, and most painfully, her identity as the family's caregiver. But more than that, it forced her into a daily confrontation with regrets she'd buried deep beneath her polished exterior. The moment she heard about the opportunity for resentencing, Julie's heart didn't leak with hope, it sank. While her legal team saw a chance for justice, maybe even freedom, Julie saw something else. The possibility of reopening old wounds and facing a truth she had spent months avoiding. The burden of guilt. Julie Chrisley had always followed her husband Todd's lead. For years, she supported the narrative that they were innocent, victims of a vendetta or media frenzy. But behind closed doors, and especially in the solitude of her prison cell, Julie had begun to question everything. Was it really all Todd's doing? Was she just along for the ride? Or had she played a bigger role than she dared admit? The resentencing hearing loomed on the horizon. Julie panicked, not because she feared the judge, but because she feared the truth. Appearing in person meant speaking, and speaking might mean confessing, not to new crimes, but to the deep internal guilt she carried. She couldn't bear to stand before a judge, the public, or even her children, and pretend she was the same woman who walked into prison months ago. Julie knew she wasn't. And worse, she didn't know if she wanted to fight anymore. A letter she never sent. According to sources close to the Chrisley family, Julie had written a letter to the judge, one she ultimately chose not to send. In it, she admitted to feeling complicit, not necessarily in financial crimes, but in ignoring red flags, in turning a blind eye for the sake of comfort, reputation, and loyalty. "I didn't steal money," the letter allegedly read, "but I did steal time from my children by choosing to believe what I wanted, not what was true." The letter, though never submitted, was a turning point for Julie. She realized that appearing in court might mean having to testify to feelings she wasn't ready to share under oath. Not because they were incriminating, but because they were raw, emotional, and too close to the bone. Protecting Savannah and Grayson. Another reason for Julie's refusal to appear may have come down to maternal instinct. Her daughter, Savannah, had taken on the immense responsibility of caring for Grayson and Chloe, while fighting the media narrative and advocating for her parents' innocence. Julie didn't want to add fuel to the fire. If she were to speak in court and express even a hint of doubt or remorse that didn't align perfectly with Todd's firm stance of innocence, the media would pounce. Savannah would be forced to defend conflicting messages. Grayson, already traumatized, would be further confused. And Julie couldn't bear to let her children suffer more than they already had. To some, not showing up may have looked like weakness. But in her own way, Julie believed she was protecting her children from another media circus and shielding them from the weight of her internal crisis. A marriage on the edge. Privately, Julie had grown distant from Todd since their incarceration began. While he remained defiant, issuing statements through attorneys, and maintaining his innocence, Julie found herself craving silence, reflection, and solitude. She began praying more often, journaling, and seeking counsel from the prison chaplain, not for legal advice, but for spiritual guidance. Appearing at a resentencing hearing might mean standing beside Todd again. And the truth was, she wasn't sure she could. Not because she didn't love him, but because she wasn't sure she believed him anymore. This internal tug of war, between loyalty to her husband and a newfound desire to seek personal redemption, was one she didn't want to play out on a public stage. Quiet hope. Despite her absence, Julie hasn't given up hope. But it's a different kind of hope now. It's not the glossy, TV version of hope that promises freedom, vindication, and a family reunion wrapped in a vow. It's quieter, more grounded, the hope of becoming someone better, someone honest, someone her children can admire, not because she fought and won, but because she dared to confront who she really was. Julie has reportedly begun attending a prison Bible study group that focuses on personal accountability. Fellow inmates say she often remains quiet during sessions but listens intently, especially when others talk about the weight of shame, forgiveness, and second chances. A statement without speaking. In the end, Julie Chrisley made a statement by not appearing at her resentencing hearing. It wasn't a refusal. It was a retreat, a deliberate decision to pull away from the stage she had occupied for so long. She wasn't avoiding justice. She was confronting herself. And that's a battle that doesn't take place in a courtroom. It happens in the silence of the soul. Julie Chrisley may yet have her sentence reduced. Her lawyers are optimistic. But even if she never sees a single day shaved off her time, one thing is clear. Her journey toward redemption is no longer about headlines, cameras, or even freedom.